In today's video, I'm going to show you how to finish the journal case that I have cutting instructions for on my blog, rozwoundup.typepad.com. This is the case. I made it for the journal swap that we did at Minnesota Center for Book Arts in our visual journal collective. It has a little slit and opens, and then it can hold, ours holds 18 little zines like this that are made with one sheet of paper. So that's what we're going to be making. We're finishing up, and just so that you can see it in rotation, because when I tried to explain how to glue it and put the cut pieces together, it became more difficult to articulate than to just show you. So here it is, all cut with the labels already attached. You want to attach the labels before you glue it together, because then you can press down. When you glue the labels on, you can put a weight on top of this and leave it for an hour until the glue dries and get good label adherence. Or you can use a Xyron to attach your labels. That's also something that's possible. This is my sample, so it has writing on the inside. To refresh your memory, these are the different cuts and sizes and stuff that I talk about in my written instructions on the blog. Just look under Journal Zine and you should find references to that post. So anyway, the trick now is that once you've got it all cut like this, you need to fold it up so that the sides are closed, okay? But you also want to have one of these flaps going in first and one going second. So you'll have an open edge here and an open edge on the back. And that helps with strength. If they're both going in the same direction, I've found that the case is less sturdy. The other thing that you want to do that's critical is these little tabs that you have on each side need to go in between the two longer panels. So again, over here, you can see it tucked in there. That's critical because it keeps things in the case from falling out. You don't get an ugly gap right here. So with that said, we want to begin gluing. And we're going to start here. Reaching around the camera to do this might not be the smartest way to do this. Put a little glue on that tab. And I'm going to close the case. And you want to make sure that this long edge is butted into this crease. So it's nice and straight here. This should be a right angle. If it isn't, you're in trouble. Your case will be wonky. You want to hold this down for a couple of seconds, and it'll start to adhere. Now, once that's adhered, you want to make sure you don't have glue on your fingers. You want to close the case further. And you're now going to glue out I'm going to stop for a second. Okay, I think it'll be easier if I glue out when I'm not working around the camera, so we'll see if I get my hands in the way here. I can't sort of watch while I'm doing this at the same time. But just again, I'm not using a brush because I find that it's just quicker to do this. I would hold it probably, that's too much there. I would hold it closer to me so they wouldn't be in such an odd position. And you want to go right up to the edge of the tabs. Get my sheet of paper here, paper towel, and then you want to simply fold it down. Okay, hold it in place. And one of the things that you want to make sure is that it's all lined up, but you also want to make sure that this edge is nice and smooth. If you see any glue coming out, you want to wipe it away with your fingers. Keep the glue off the outside. Don't worry if you get some glue on the inside. That's not critical. If this isn't nice and adhered without little gaps, you want to take a clean spot at the table and you want to just reach in and press down with your finger along that edge. And this can bow out. You don't have to worry about that. It's the next tab that's going to make it difficult to get because the case is going to be so much tighter. But here we can just push down. Okay, a little bit of glue is seeping out there, but that's from reaching around. Okay, oops, I'm off the frame. So there you can see. Now, since this tab is coming forward on the outside, we want this one to go back on the outside. So it's the opposite of the way these two tabs are done. But the center one still has to go in the middle. The center one still has to go in the middle. I'm going to have to step around. I was wrong that that was going to be easy. Okay, so I'm going to take this, put a little glue on here, wipe it off on our paper towel, which is on frame, push this down, reach in here, and again you want to hold this panel flush with that crease, the edge of that flush with that crease, so that this is at right angles. Otherwise your case will be wonky. Hold that down with your thumb for a couple moments, a couple seconds. Get that thumb cleaned, because you don't want to put glue on the outside of your case. Now, holding this like that, we're going to, I would have this right down on the table, maybe on a waste sheet, and I would just move it along with my finger so that I can get it out over the edge there. You don't need a lot of glue, and you don't want a lot at the edges. You just want enough at the edges to adhere. If you have a lot of glue at the edges, what's going to happen is it's going to seep out when you close it. So now you make sure that this panel is sticking in the crease there, its edge, and then you just bring this over. Nice and trued up there. Now again, we want to get a nice tight adhesion, and if you can't reach in here with your hand, if your case isn't flexible enough, oops, I set it down on glue, so working around the tripod is not good. You want to reach in with your hand if it'll bow a little bit. If you're using thicker paper, you won't be able to do that. And push down on those edges again to get them to adhere. It's very critical. Got to get adherence because you don't get to weight this under anything. Let's just check it out here. So it's not really holding here, so we're going to give it a little pinch there and hold it for a moment ourselves. Sorry, the focus is probably going to go in and out all over on this. There we go. So that's adhering. That's great. So I'll try and get this off with a little Scotch tape when it's dry. But you would take greater care and not put it down where you knew there was any wet glue. Okay? So that's all you have to do. You've got your case. It opens nicely. You won't have all that writing on the inside like I do. And when you get your journals in there, well, you should wait for an hour just to make sure that the glue is all dry, but 15 minutes is probably sufficient. Polyvinyl acetate, PVA, is what we used, and that dries very quickly. But then you can put your zines in there, and you can close with the slot. And the slit or slot also gets cut before, obviously, you put it together, because otherwise you would have to insert something in here that was of this height but solid so that you could cut there. Okay? But I hope that helps you visualize the order in which you put your tabs together and how you glue them. And there you've got your case. So I hope you will try a journal zine swap, and or just zines of any kind. And oops, sorry, I bumped the camera. And that you will make a little case for it. You can also do this kind of case for journal cards. Oftentimes I'll go on a trip, and this will be the kind of case I'll make for my journal cards when I return. So that's a nice way to do this. And I've used paper as thick as 140-pound watercolor paper. And the nice thing with that paper is that you can pre-paint it before you cut it and fold it, and you can have a very decorative case. as the one in my post shows you. It was made with watercolor paper. So thanks again for watching. Check it out at roswoundup.typepad.com.